What's good? Welcome in. Thanks for tuning in to the Lakers Report by Chat Sports. Chase Senior here with you. A great show on tap for you all today as we take a look at 4 players the Lakers could look to trade for prior to the start of the 2022-23 NBA season. Now, when you look at this Lakers roster right now, obviously there are some question marks. Is Russell Westbrook going to be on this team? At this point, probably is. But Austin Reeves as a starter, Thomas Bryant as a starter, then you look at the bench. I think the Lakers are a little bit thin in a couple of areas, including that bench unit. But when you look specifically at a couple of areas and a couple of positions, I'd say that Los Angeles, as compared to some other teams in the Western Conference, do lack some wing and big depth. And I think that they're bereft at both of those positions on this team. And that's why we're going to take a look at some intriguing players who could be had for a big Lakers trade. First, though, what do you think is the biggest Lakers need on this roster? Want to hear from you in the comment section, so be sure to show off that basketball intellect and your intellect on the Los Angeles Lakers. Give me a W for wing or a B for biggest Lakers area of need. Let me know right now. So Lakers trade candidates. Let's start off here with Jae Crowder. It's been interesting to monitor the situation between him and the Phoenix Suns because he had said in the public sphere on social media, I'm not going to be with this team this upcoming season. And Crowder and the Suns mutually agreed to part ways. And it's really interesting that it's come down to that because I think that Crowder was good for the Suns and the Suns were really good for Jae Crowder. This is a dog. This is an ultimate glue guy. And he fulfills both areas of needs, really, for this Lakers team. He's a wing. He can shoot the three. He also brings some toughness and defense to the table. And I think that's really also what the Lakers are lacking here. Last year, 9+ points per game, pretty solid rebounder. Primarily, he is going to shoot three-pointers and really just hover around that three-point perimeter. The 40% field goals, yeah, it's okay, but 35% from deep with a lot of volume there. A little bit of a spotty shooter who can go hot and cold, but I like Jae Crowder for the reasons that I talked about, and I think that he'd be able to fit onto this team seamlessly. And this is a Lakers team that obviously is led by LeBron James, and I don't question his dog, but I think the Lakers need some more dogs. And you get a guy like Jae Crowder as well as Patrick Beverley. This is a team that has kind of lacked that mental fortitude the last couple of years. Crowder would certainly help in that area. Let's pivot now to Eric Gordon. We were getting this show together with producer Coop and myself, and Coop with a pretty interesting stat here. Eric Gordon, throughout his NBA career, has never averaged less than 13 points per game. That's really impressive. The Rockets right now, bad and tanking. Now, I do like the young pieces on that roster. I think in a couple of years, they're going to be a pretty good basketball team. But right now, they don't really have a need for Eric Gordon. Their plans over the next couple of years develop their youth. So having a guy like Eric Gordon on the roster is kind of contradictory with what they want to do. And Eric Gordon, also a guy who would fit really well on this roster. He's very expensive, so that's a problem for Los Angeles. In terms of fit, though, I think that he would fit really well. Last year, career high, I believe, 41% from long range. And as you can see, those three-point numbers, they've staggered the last couple of years. What hasn't, though, is his ability to score the basketball. And he's also a pretty good defender. He's very underrated in that regard. And I think the Lakers can always use that veteran presence for Eric Gordon. Over time, I think this guy has become somewhat underrated. Now, there's no question that injuries are a little bit of a concern for him, but shoot, he shoots 40% from distance like he did last year. That will really aid this Lakers offense. And when you take a gander at the wing options on this Lakers team, you have LeBron James, but after that, huge question marks. I mean, if LeBron James continues to have some injury-plagued seasons, then that wing depth is certainly a big problem. Austin Reeves, Lonnie Walker, Troy Brown, and Cole Swider. We'll see if the latter makes this roster. But LeBron goes down. You lack that wing depth. And that's where Eric Gordon and Jae Crowder come into play. Now, Eric Gordon, more of a two-guard, but because of his defensive prowess, he could play a little wing. So with that, let me ask you this. The better player between those two guys, is it Eric Gordon I want to hear from you. Type G in the comment section. Is it Jae Crowder? Type C. Let me know right now. While you're venturing down into the comment section to get those important votes in, make sure you hit that red subscribe button if you want to stay in the know with all things Lakers. Whether it's me, whether it's Marshall Green, somebody else, we're always going to cook up the best Lakers coverage here at Chat Sports because we greatly do take great pride in everything that we do here on this channel. YouTube.com/LakersTV. Lock us in. Another trade candidate. Let's pivot now to the front court. Rashawn Holmes, who is arguably on the worst team in the Western Conference. I don't know. Maybe the Houston Rockets will rival that. A couple of other teams like San Antonio could be in the bottom basement of the West. But either way, Rashawn Holmes, he's on the Sacramento Kings. He'd be a big upgrade over Thomas Bryant as well as Damian Jones. And I like Holmes a lot. Look, coming out of Bowling Green, he was kind of looked at as a guy who is just a really good athlete, a high flyer. He's actually developed into a pretty solid all-around player who isn't just that alley-oop, jump-high, block shots, rim-protecting kind of guy. He kind of does it all. And 2 years ago, I thought he was really good. Last year, he was solid. 10.5 points per game, 7 boards, 66% from the floor. Of course, he's a liability at the free throw line. He doesn't really stretch the floor at all. But he's a better player than Thomas Bryant and Damian Jones. A block per game as well. This is a guy who a couple of years ago earned himself the bag. And unless AD is playing the 5, I think the Lakers need that true center. It is a position that you can get away with not having a great player at if you're good at the guard spot as well as the wing spot, and you have a guy like Anthony Davis. But a guy like Rashawn Holmes would bolster this front court, both offensively and defensively. You run a little two-man game with him going to the rim. We know that there are a couple of good passers on this team as well. You throw it up for Rashawn Holmes, he'll be able to flush it down and find Twine. So would you trade for Rashawn Holmes? Once again, I'm asking for your feedback down below. Play the role of Rob Pelinka, who just got that contract extension, weirdly enough. T for trade, P for pass. Once again, get that comment section popping. Do have a great deal to tell you about before we get to another juicy trade target. Chatsports.com/Lakers sale, 40% off today with this crew neck hoodie. Sweatshirt, I should say. It's not a hoodie, but the crew neck, it's a great look nowadays. And it's funny to see some of these trends return, right? Short shorts are back. Overalls are back. These trends returning from the 90s and the 80s. Crew necks as well, under that category. Get it right now, 40% off, chatsports.com/Lakers sale. We'll put that link in the comment section right now. Okay, how about Draymond Green? Now, he is number 4 here on this list because it is highly unlikely that the Warriors trade away Draymond Green. If the Lakers can bring in Draymond Green, like Stephen A. Smith said the other day, like we had covered here on the channel, it would probably be via free agency. But if he continues to not get along well with some of the players on that roster, including Jordan Poole, and Jordan Poole maybe comes through with some leverage and says, Bob Myers, Steve Kerr, you pick me or you pick Draymond Green. Maybe the Warriors would panic a little bit and trade away Draymond Green. Also, that gives them money to pay an Andrew Wiggins, to pay a Jordan Poole, some of those other contracts coming up. Now, here's what Steve Kerr had to say about Draymond, and he called it the biggest crisis we've ever seen since I've been the coach here. Really serious stuff. We're not perfect. Our team ain't perfect. Bob and I have definitely made our share of mistakes over the years, but we're going to lean on the experience we have together over the last 9 years. We have a lot of work to do, all of us, players, coaches, Bob, front office, but we're committed to doing that work together and to making this a really successful season. And Draymond Green will rejoin the team later this week for the preseason finale. He will play for the Warriors season opener. And reports out there indicating Poole has not forgiven Draymond Green. And is this relationship repairable? Now, if you were to get socked in the face by your fellow coworker, I wouldn't just flush that. I wouldn't just say, oh yeah, we're all good, no worries. Obviously, something had been brewing for it to really overflow to that point where Draymond Green had attacked Jordan Poole. Yes, Poole pushed him first, and yes, we were taught as youngsters that when you get hit first, then you can hit back. It's one thing, though, to push somebody. It's another to punch them, and then if you punch them, then yeah, you might get punched and socked back. But is the relationship repairable? We'll see. And if not, maybe it's not a trade that could take place prior to the season, but at some point during the season. And if not, Stephen A. Smith said, look, Draymond, he wants to play for the purple and gold. Maybe that happens in the free agency market. Do you want Draymond on the Los Angeles Lakers? Draymond Green and Patrick Beverley on the same team? That right there, folks, very interesting. Give me a Y for yes or an N for no. And if you made it this far on the show, you're a real one. Type real one down below. We'll show you some love back. Real one, roll call. Greatly appreciate all of you for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time here on the Lakers Report.